You wake up before the sun. Not because you want to, but because if the domina opens her eyes and you're not already standing there with the water basin, you're getting backhanded before she's even said a word. There's no schedule you agreed to. There's just whatever the household needs in any given hour, and you find out what that is by getting it wrong first. There's up to 100 of you, and you're not legally a human being. You're property. Property. The law places you in the same category as furniture, and that's not an exaggeration for effect. That's the actual law. So let's say you're a body slave. Your entire job is another human being's comfort, every hour, every day, with no days off, because you don't have a life outside service. You are the service. Maybe you're the one holding the fan, the flabellifera if you're a woman, standing for hours at a banquet, arm burning, just keeping the air moving over your mistress's face while she eats food you'll never taste, off plates worth more than your entire existence. And if your arm drops, if the fan slows because you've been standing in the same position since midday, that's not understood as exhaustion. That's understood as disrespect. You get struck in front of the guests, and the dinner just continues, because why would it stop? It's not like anything important happened. And the thing is, that's a good job. That's one of the better ones. Because somewhere else in that same house, there are people in chains in a literal underground cell, the ergastulum, brought up only to work the worst jobs, the ones the household slaves are too valuable to risk. Field labor, the mill, punishment work, people sent there because they tried to run once or talked back once, or just because the steward decided they needed breaking. You don't get to choose your family either. A child born to a slave owned by a senator is just born a slave, full stop. No ceremony, no debate. And the senator can sell that child whenever he wants. Mother here, child there, doesn't matter how long they've been together. Doesn't matter that the kid's only 7. You're not a family in the eyes of the law. You're inventory that happens to be related. Your body isn't yours. It belongs to the senator. Their demands extend everywhere a slave lives, male or female, and there's no concept of consent. I mean, a table cannot consent, so why can you? So you learn to read a room better than anyone free ever has to. You learn the difference between the master's good mood and his bad mood from the sound of his sandals on the tile. You learn which guests like to humiliate slaves for entertainment, and you learn to disappear before they notice you. But some households were kinder, some masters were reasonable, and sure, sometimes. But here's what kindness actually means in this situation. It means the violence is occasional instead of constant. That's the ceiling. That's as good as it gets. Now, what happens to you when your master dies? In the year 61, a senator named Pedanius Secundus was murdered in his own home by one of his slaves. Roman law had a rule for exactly this situation, and it is, I think, one of the most chilling legal codes in human history. If a master is murdered in his own household and the killer isn't caught in the act, every single slave living under that roof is executed, guilty or not, old or young. The ones who tried to stop it, the ones who slept through it, the ones who were nowhere near the room. Doesn't matter. The logic, according to the Senate, was that fear of collective punishment would force every slave to police every other slave every night forever. 400 people lived in that house. 400 people who, the morning before, were just trying to get through another day of fanning, fetching, serving, surviving. And by that evening, every one of them was sentenced to die for a crime almost none of them committed. There was massive public outrage because of this, but it didn't matter. The Senate voted to go through with it anyway, and soldiers had to line the entire road just to drag 400 people to their deaths through a mob trying to save them. That's the system. That is what it actually meant to be property in a senator's house. I don't really know how to end this one cleanly because there isn't a clean ending. The fan bearer goes back to fanning. The body slave goes back to fetching water before dawn. Nothing changes for them, except now they know exactly how little their life was worth the whole time. Anyway, please like and subscribe if you learned something new. I'm trying to hit 50 subs before July.